And Harry says, "Oh, there was a little discussion before we got married." Something's wrong right there.
Harry is a very complicated person because he's not very intelligent and undoubtedly remains damaged by the early death of his mother, Diana.
I wrote 4 years ago a book about Prince Charles, and it was a #1. It was a fascinating story. So when Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this going to play out? They want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know.
What happens when a royal critic refuses to stay quiet and Prince Harry decides to fight back? This isn't just another royal headline. It's a full-blown showdown between Lady Colin Campbell, better known as Lady C, and the Duke of Sussex himself. After months of fiery claims, shocking interviews, and bold statements about the Sussexes, reports say Prince Harry has had enough.
All Samantha's questions from her lawyers, whether she lied about Samantha, about Thomas Markle in her notorious interview with Oprah Winfrey. So that's a major breakthrough for Samantha Markle, for Thomas Markle, and for the truth.
He's now threatening legal action, not just against Lady C, but also against royal biographer Tom Bower. But here's the twist. Lady C isn't backing down. In fact, she's clapping back.
Blames the media for her, in his words, murdered her, which is complete nonsense.
The idiot who doesn't understand that he's married to the enemy. He's sleeping with the enemy.
Harder than ever. She's daring Harry to follow through with his lawsuit, and her reaction has completely flipped the story. Because this isn't just gossip. This is about power, truth, and who controls the royal narrative.
When Meghan was engaged to Harry, which Samantha says is a total lie, interestingly, Samantha also says that Meghan's story about having a Ford Explorer where she could only get in through the boot was also untrue. She goes through a whole load of Meghan's lies.
And trust me, once you see how Lady C responded, you'll understand why this moment could change everything. So what exactly sparked this royal storm? It all started when Lady C and Tom Bower publicly challenged the version of events that Harry and Meghan have been pushing for years, from the family drama inside the palace to the timeline of their royal exit.
Where I sent off dozens and dozens of emails to her friends, and most of them didn't even reply. And obviously I spoke to her father, who loves her still very much, and said, in the end, whatever she is, she's still my daughter.
And even details surrounding their children. Lady C has never been one to hold back, and her blunt remarks quickly grabbed headlines. Tom Bower, known for his explosive royal biographies, backed her claims with his own research, and that combination hit a nerve.
This cross-examination of Meghan will take place for the trial to start. So Meghan really has a problem, because until today, her lawyers have been saying this is so ridiculous, we refuse to even engage with Samantha Markle. They stonewalled.
According to reports, Prince Harry wasn't just angry, he was ready to take action. His team began exploring legal options, warning that false or defamatory comments wouldn't be tolerated. But that move only made things bigger. Instead of backing off, Lady C doubled down, saying she had every right to speak her truth. What was meant to silence the critics ended up giving them a louder microphone. And just when it looked like things might calm down, Lady C fired back with a response that stunned everyone. And that's where things get even more intense. When most people get threatened with a royal lawsuit, they go silent. But not Lady C. Instead of backing down, she did the complete opposite. She went public, calling Harry's legal threats laughable, and even dared him to go through with it.
The author further said on Twitter, the Duchess of Sussex is controlled by the same forces that controlled Jeffrey Epstein.
With that one move, the entire power dynamic shifted. Lady C wasn't acting like someone afraid of being sued. She was acting like someone ready for a fight. In interviews and online, she made it clear that she stood by every word she said, and hinted that she had even more information if things went to court.
You can't beat the real story. I mean, that's the excitement of writing these sort of books, that in the end, nothing beats the truth, the real fact.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
That confidence caught everyone off guard. Fans started praising her for speaking out, while critics said she was poking the bear. But either way, her defiance turned her into a headline all over again. What was supposed to scare her into silence had just made her voice even louder. And the next thing she brought up took the whole situation from messy to explosive. The biggest shock came when Lady C and Tom Bower began questioning one of the most delicate topics in the entire royal saga, the story surrounding the births of Harry and Meghan's children, Archie and Lilibet. Both Lady C and Bower suggested there were inconsistencies in the timeline and secrecy that didn't match traditional royal protocol.
Well, if I was Meghan, I'd be undoubtedly very worried tonight what the judge decided.
There were no public hospital photo ops, no official confirmations from medical staff, and a level of privacy that raised more questions than answers. Lady C hinted that the palace's silence only fueled suspicion, claiming that when the monarchy refuses to clarify, it gives people room to speculate. And speculate they did. Social media went into overdrive, with theories spreading faster than ever. Whether or not the claims hold any truth, one thing became clear. This topic hit a nerve with royal watchers worldwide. And once it caught fire online, there was no putting it out. Once Lady C's comments hit the internet, the reaction was instant and explosive. Social media lit up with clips, theories, and endless debates about what really happened behind palace doors. Some fans defended Harry and Meghan, saying they had every right to keep their family life private, while others demanded answers, arguing that the secrecy only made things look suspicious. Hashtags started trending overnight. YouTube channels broke down every detail frame by frame, and the conversation spilled into mainstream media. Suddenly, what began as a few outspoken remarks turned into a full-blown online investigation. Lady C became both a hero and a villain, depending on who you asked. And the Sussexes once again found themselves at the center of a global storm. The pressure was building fast, and with legal threats still hanging in the air, everyone wanted to know, would Harry really take this to court? Or was it all just a warning shot? If Prince Harry actually moves forward with a lawsuit, it could open a door the royal family has spent decades trying to keep shut. Legal action means evidence, documents, and cross-examinations. And once that happens, privacy goes out the window. Lady C has made it clear she's not afraid to go to court, which puts Harry in a difficult position. If he files, he risks exposing personal details that could fuel even more controversy. But if he backs down, it might look like he has something to hide. It's a lose-lose situation for the Sussexes, and Lady C knows it. That's why her confidence is so powerful. She's essentially calling his bluff. Experts have already warned that a public trial could turn into a media circus, with headlines dissecting every word, every document, and every inconsistency. And in a world where perception is everything, that kind of exposure could do far more damage. While the headlines exploded and social media picked sides, Buckingham Palace stayed completely silent, and that silence spoke volumes. No official statement, no denial, not even a brief comment from palace representatives. To some, that looked like dignity. The royal family refusing to engage in public drama. But to others, it felt like avoidance, a sign that the situation might be more serious than anyone wants to admit. Historically, the palace only stays quiet when there's something delicate behind the scenes, and this time the quiet feels almost strategic. By ignoring the noise, they're letting Harry take the heat while they stay untouchable. But there's a risk to that approach. The longer they remain silent, the more the public fills in the blanks. And with Lady C continuing to speak out, that silence isn't protecting the royal image anymore. It's feeding the fire. Which raises the question, how long can the palace afford to say nothing before the silence becomes its own kind of scandal? So, where does this royal showdown go from here? There are a few possible outcomes, and none of them are simple. If Prince Harry decides to follow through with the lawsuit, it could lead to one of the most publicized legal battles the monarchy has ever seen. every detail, every claim, and every contradiction would be dragged into the spotlight, creating the kind of spectacle the palace dreads. But if Harry chooses to quietly back away, that decision could speak louder than any court ruling. It might suggest that Lady C's confidence wasn't misplaced, and that she knew he wouldn't risk taking it further. Meanwhile, Lady C and Tom Bower show no signs of stopping. Both seem ready to keep talking, keep digging, and keep challenging the royal narrative. The world is watching closely, waiting for Harry's next move. Because at this point, the story isn't just about who's telling the truth. It's about who dares to keep talking when the stakes couldn't be higher. At the end of the day, this story isn't just about Lady C, Prince Harry, or even the royal family. It's about power, truth, and the price of speaking out. Lady C has made it clear she won't be silenced, no matter how big the name or how strong the threat. Prince Harry, on the other hand, is stuck between protecting his image and risking even more public scrutiny if he pushes too far. One move could restore his credibility, the other could tear it apart. And as the palace remains silent, the battle for the royal narrative plays out in front of millions of eyes around the world. The question now is simple. Who's really winning this war? The royals trying to protect their secrets, or the outsiders exposing them one headline at a time? If you've been following this saga, let me know what you think in the comments. Is Lady T brave or reckless for standing her ground? And do you think Harry will actually take this to court? Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications, because when the next royal twist drops, you'll want to be here first.